The size of the hood and the efficiency of extraction is not only determined by the quality of the cooker hood, but also the accessories used and the proper installation. We at Novy prefer the use of a strong PVC duct. The diameter of the duct needs to be the same diameter as you will have originally on the cooker hood itself. The inside of the ducts need to be smooth, because this is very important to have a very smooth airflow going through. In an ideal situation, you have a very straight line from the cooker hood outside, but this is not always possible. In some cases, you might require a bend. And if you use a bend, it's important to look at the structure of the bend itself. In this case, we work with air deflectors inside. If you have an air deflector inside, it will avoid turbulence. And if you have no turbulence, it will of course become an advantage to your airflow itself. With ducts, it is important that there is no airflow from the outside coming inside, because this would be of a negative impact on the comfort in the kitchen. To avoid this, we use a non-return valve. A non-return valve is installed in such a way that the airflow from your cooker hood, when it is on, it will travel through, and when your cooker hood is off, it will avoid any cold air from the outside coming inside, because it gets blocked. So this is an important aspect, a non-return valve to be installed in the ducts. In some cases, you will not have the opportunity to use a round duct, but then of course a flat duct is a possibility as well. So with regards to flat ducts, it's exactly the same principle. It's important to have a strong flat duct and then use all the different accessories with the air deflectors inside. In some cases, you might need to use an aluminium flexible foil. We would actually recommend not to use this too often, but in some cases it is necessary if you need to bridge something. And if you do use it, make sure that you stretch it to the maximum. Because if you don't stretch it to the maximum, you will get more friction of the air going through. So really stretch it to the max, and then you actually get into a good situation. To listen to the differences in sounds, we have this setup here, and I would like you to listen to the different levels that you might hear. In the first case, you will hear the sound of the air traveling through a strong PVC duct. In the second situation, you will hear the difference of the sound traveling through a flexible aluminium duct. In some cases, you will find that there is already some existing ducting. And if you have already some existing ducting, then you might need to use a reducer. We would actually recommend not to use a reducer, because if you use a reducer, you will get from a 150mm diameter duct, and you will start to reduce it to 100 or 125mm. Once you do that, you create a barrier. And if you create a barrier, you will get turbulence, you will get more air pressure that you will require to get your air moving through. Ultimately, this has a detrimental effect on the extraction level of your cooker hood, and also it will increase the level of sound dramatically. Let's hear this. In some cases, you have the opportunity to put a motor remotely. So not on the cooker hood itself in the kitchen, but perhaps in a different area, in the garage or wherever. Now once you do this, if you put your motor into a remote place, it is extremely important to also use a flexible silencer. And use a flexible silencer directly connected to your remote motor. In that way, you will avoid any sound traveling back into the duct. This is the most ideal situation to have. And of course, make sure, like with any flexible ducts, to have this stretched out as much as possible. Let's listen to the sound. We also get into situations where we find aluminum flexible ducts being used in houses, and sometimes somebody has squeezed a part of this because somebody's put his foot on it, or it has been squeezed between some joists. In that situation, it's very hard to get the dent out of the tube, and it creates a very, very negative impact on your airflow. Again, the extraction drops down and the sound levels go up dramatically. It is clear that this is a situation that you want to avoid. So all in all, if we take this to conclusion, first element is choose a really good quality cooker hood. Secondly, go for ducting. In an ideal situation, you go for a duct as short as possible, as straight as possible, with tough PVC ducting that is very smooth on the inside, so that you get less friction from the airflow, and this will have a very good impact on the extraction levels and of course on the sound levels. And that is how you will reach a very silent hood.